Your Excellency, former President of the Republic, John Mahama, Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Professor Nana Abba Apia Amfo, my good old friends, Vice Chancellors, Ivan and Akilapa, thanks for all you've done for me in the past. It's good to see you again. Ministers, former ministers, my very good friends, Mrs. Matilda Amissah-Arthur and family, distinguished guests, friends and colleagues, all other protocols observed. It is my honor to be here today to speak in remembrance of Kwesi Bekwai Amissah-Arthur, or as we fondly know him, Pa Kwesi. He and I had a chance to work together on several occasions, and we shared a firm belief in Ghana's ability to transform and to live up to its potentials as Africa's greatest democracy. He was, for as long as I knew him, committed to making policy decisions based on strong evidence, but always keeping in mind the need to put citizens first, and to understand how big picture policy impacts people living at all four corners of our beloved country. It's always an honor and a privilege for me to be here. I got my start in the Department of Economics. So I have my education at Legon to thank for a wonderful career. I also have Legon to thank for something even better. I was a student here when I met the most important person in my life, my dear wife, Philomena. I came here for an education, but I left with so much more than that. This is actually the third time I've had the honor of making a speech at Legon. The first one in September 2000, when I delivered the University of Ghana alumni lecture at the Great Hall with the Vice Chancellor Ivan spearheading it. I spoke on Ghana's history of economic development and reform, and I noted that we as Ghanaians possess a special value of tolerance and respect that has allowed us to avoid the conflicts and strife that have affected other African countries. But I also cautioned that our tolerance should not extend to political systems, policies, or institutions that need to serve our people better. The second time I spoke at Legon was 15 years later, in 2015, also at the Great Hall, where I had the honor to serve as the keynote speaker at the inaugural E.N. Umabu Memorial Lecture. On that occasion, I spoke on how to strengthen our democracy for a stronger economy and a stronger future. I called it positive politics for Ghana. On both occasions, I spoke on the urgency of addressing the problems that were holding us back as a nation. And on both occasions, I said the same thing. The Black Star cannot wane. In between those two Great Hall lectures, I spoke at the opening session of the Economic Forum at Citi, which was chaired by the man we are honoring here today and convened by former President Mahama. One of my most vivid memories of Pa Kwesi was when we worked together at Citi almost 10 years ago for such a crucial event. At that time, Ghana was facing several serious economic challenges, Fiscal deficits were high, rising public debt, energy subsidies, and a high public sector wage bill were threatening macroeconomic stability. Inflation and interest rates had jumped into double figures. Together with Kwesi and other political and development elites in Citi, we spent 3 days on substantive discussions about what the future of our country should be. We came out of Citi with a consensus, but only among a privileged few, without enough buy-in from all political parties. So the conversations and agreements we made ended up as a footnote in history rather than as a long-term strategy. The situation we face today may be even worse. Between 2000 and 2020, Ghana has experienced 13 years of rapid growth, including years of very rapid growth. But growth alone is not enough to sustain long-term development. Countries must transform their economies. Despite the strong growth rate, Ghana's economy has suffered from falling productivity in the manufacturing sector and high vulnerability to global markets and commodity price shocks. Its development has been marred by debt and energy crisis, large trade and fiscal imbalances, and a lack of long-term consistent planning. As a result, Ghana is not transforming. At the African Center for Economic Transformation, we developed the African Transformation Index to track countries' progress in this regard. An updated index will be released in a few weeks. And it will show that Ghana's economic transformation is in decline, below the Africa average in all the areas used to measure success, such as diversification of products and exports, technology, and labor productivity. As we know, Ghana has just made another agreement with the IMF, but the stakes are higher. Political polarization is worse. Civic disengagement is higher. Ghana must not only solve its economic problems to enable transformation, it must safeguard its democratic traditions and institutions. Another election is on the horizon, and the next government will lead Ghana into the second quarter of the 21st century. These next 25 years are absolutely crucial or critical to Ghana's ability to secure its future. Another consensus is needed, but this time it needs to be a true national consensus, broader, with more stakeholder input and buy-in, especially among the youth, women, and civil society. In past lectures, I spoke on these issues in hypotheticals. Today, I do not have to do that. Today, I'm able to speak in more certain terms, specifically about a new initiative that I and many other concerned citizens are spearheading. It is called the Compact for Ghana's Political and Economic Transformation. And through it, we are working right now to build the true national consensus that is so urgently needed. The Ghana Compact aims to frame the future we want for Ghana by 2050. It is a platform for setting a shared vision for a nation that will tackle our greatest challenges. It is intended to put Ghana on a more secure path forward by bringing better balance to our democratic process and more voices into our policy decisions or discussions. Our core belief with the Compact is this: for Ghana to truly deliver on its ambitions and achieve its greatest potential, we need to build a social contract between our citizens and our government, no matter who is in charge, to set a long-term vision for economic transformation that delivers dividends for its people. We all know the issues all too well. Every time government changes, our policies and programs change. Our Constitution, though it has served us well, was written too long ago to work for all of today's challenges. Women still face barriers to equal rights and equal participation. Our businesses are not as competitive as they should be. Our youth need the skills, training, and opportunity to succeed. And of course, our fiscal health is weak. So, what would the Ghana Compact do that is different than all that has come before? A lot. It is more than an idea. It is more than a framework. It is a call to action. The Compact is bringing ordinary citizens into the discourse and discussion so that the initiative is informed first and foremost by the people of Ghana, from the ground up, not the top down. It is engaging youth on the issues that will define their lives. It is building a consensus among a wide and varied group of stakeholders, from industry associations and trade unions to civil society, the leadership of Parliament, and the Council of State. In this way, the Compact is not just another diagnosis. When finished, it will propose concrete solutions to address the historic constraints and challenges to our fiscal health, to safeguard our democracy and increasing political polarization, distrust, and disengagement, and to put Ghana on a successful path to economic transformation and sustainable, inclusive growth. As the African Center for Economic Transformation, we have worked closely with a network of most of the major policy think tanks and policy institutes to supply this initiative with empirical foundations. And I'm glad to see that ISA at the University of Ghana has been a great partner in this analysis. I thank them very much for that. More than half a dozen research papers have been produced so far, and we have more sittings, dialogues, and engagements planned, as well as a national mobilization campaign. I'm certain that we'll get into even more aspects of the Compact in the discussions that follow. Now, in light of all this, I want to take a moment and reiterate the theme of today's conference: economic policy making in Ghana, lessons learned, and the way forward. The Ghana Compact is, in my view, a true workable blueprint for applying past lessons towards a better future. But of course, it all comes down to crafting and implementing smart, informed economic policies that enable transformation. So before I conclude, allow me to make one very important point right now. We know what it takes to transform. Other countries have done it, most notably in Asia, where Korea, Malaysia, and others offer examples to follow. But we also have some good examples on our own continent of countries that have started on a transformation journey, such as Mauritius and South Africa. ASET has studied this extensively, and we have a good idea of what works and what doesn't work. In Africa, we know that all countries, no matter their unique circumstances, must diversify production and exports, improve competitiveness in global markets, boost productivity, especially labor productivity, upgrade technology across industries, and improve human well-being through higher wages and better jobs. These are the fundamental components of successful transformation strategies, and they must be central to economic policy making in African countries. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not have to tell you that there are no shortcuts to the solutions we seek. But we do not need shortcuts. We need commitment. We need action. For too long, Ghana has suffered from a surplus of politics and a deficit of ideas. It is time to change that. The stakes are too high. The Ghana Compact does not provide all the answers, but it does provide a way forward. When I spoke at Citi, I said that we are not just any nation. I believe this still today. I always will. We are a nation of unparalleled history and culture, with respect for one another and an unwavering belief in democracy. We have natural human resources that can propel us into the future. We have an engaged and innovative youth population ready to tackle the challenges of the 21st century. We cannot squander this gift we have. As I said earlier, the Black Star cannot win. As some of you may know, I recently wrote a book, Know the Beginning Well, which traces 5 decades of African development. The title is based on my favorite African proverb: if you know the beginning well, the end shall not trouble you. If you know the beginning well, the end shall not trouble you. It is in that spirit that I have approached the Ghana Compact. The next election will help set us on the course for the next quarter century. But we must learn from the past to ensure a better future for our children and for our grandchildren. I'm often asked what still motivates me or why I keep pushing. They are the answer. Pa Kwesi's children, his son Kwesi and his daughter Araba, are with us, and they help organize this event. And so is Matilda's granddaughter, Emily. 2 of my own daughters, Nana and Mami, and 3 of my grandchildren, Kofi, Mina, and Kari, are also here today. So as I look around this room, I can see the future. Right in front of me. I'm humbled and honored to speak in front of you. My granddaughter Mina lives in Accra. She's a child growing up in Ghana, just as I was. When I envision a better future, I do it through her eyes. What kind of opportunities will be available to her? Will her well-being be better than it is today? Looking ahead to 2050, Mina will be 40 years old. If Ghana's leaders put our people first and come together to adopt a unified transformation strategy and stick with it between now and then, Mina will see a hopeful vision turned into reality. She will see an economy that is diversified, stable, and providing its citizens with higher and steadily rising levels of income. An economy that is generating more productive jobs and a workforce that is better equipped to excel with equal opportunities for women and men alike. An economy that is no longer based on traditional agriculture, raw materials, and extraction. Low-value services but on innovation, modern industries, and higher value services. An economy supported by higher and more efficient levels of national investment, propelled by sound fiscal strategies. If Mina saw all these things, she will see an economy that's becoming more sustainable and a society becoming more inclusive. She will see a country better equipped to deploy policies that will reach the poor and the vulnerable. She will see a country with increased lifespans, reduced income gaps, and less poverty. So, in that context, allow me to close by reading from the last paragraph of my book. I do not know if Mina will see the Ghana I have envisioned my whole life, but I hope she does. And I believe she will. My journey is nearing its conclusion. Her journey, and a better one for Ghana and Africa, is just beginning. I know Kwesi share the same hope and vision for Ghana. I look forward to discussing these issues further with you. Thank you very much.